this one thing you did. And maybe I just can't believe it.
YouTube, it's your girl Drknlvely, aka Robin, and welcome back to my channel. And if it's your first time seeing the mug, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and click that subscribe button, become part of the Dark Knight Squad. We lit over here. I'm your good sis, you my good sis. So today's video will be basically me going over the process and how I came about purchasing my first home. It's not like a crazy story and all that. It went very quickly, very smoothly. There are a couple of hiccups, but you know, I'll go over that you know, in the story. So to begin, I've never officially told you guys that why I moved to Houston. I moved to Houston because it was big. And I moved to Texas because it was big. And I still feel like the more people that come here, it's not as overcrowded as other states because Texas is ginormous. Okay, I missed the Denver train about 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Definitely not going to Atlanta, Georgia, overcrowded, and Phoenix, Arizona, too hot, and then Seattle, Washington, it's just too expensive. That whole West Coast, the whole West Coast is expensive. So I chose Houston over Dallas because the Houston home market was a little bit cheaper, and honestly I wanted to do Dallas because it was closer into land as opposed to Houston being closer to water. I'd rather deal with winds as opposed to water in regards to natural disasters. That's just my opinion, to each his own. It is what it is. So I moved to Houston in February of 2021. Yes. My first official week here was the winter storm. Yes. It wasn't crazy. It was crazy. Let me take that back. It was crazy, but it didn't get crazy in regards to me like, oh my God, how will I survive? I never was gonna run out of food. I never was not gonna have water. I didn't have my car here, and I didn't have any of my stuff here. That was the stuff that was making me feel very alone because I moved out here solo dolo. So not having things that made me made me feel even more alone. The cell towers were down. I didn't have any internet here, so it was all bad in regards to me being able to be in contact with my family. I would be able to call them and they would be able to call me from time to time, and we would be able to stay on the phone for a little bit. But other than that, it was okay. And you know, God put people in your life without you even knowing why why this person is placed in your life or why you met this person. So Saturday I touched down. Sunday I went to Costco. I went to Costco, met this old man. Y'all, old man love me. I don't know what it is. They just love her. I don't know if it's my sideburns or my upper lip peach fuzz. I don't know, but they love your girl. They always come and they always talk to me and be like, hey, fang, or whatever. So this older black guy, tall, chocolate, you know, or you know, whatever, very polite, loaded my car with my groceries, but you know, he's like, oh, I gotta get your number, I gotta get your number. So I gave him my number, you know, or you know, whatsoever, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And he had a truck, so I'm like, I might need a truck. And I didn't feel unsafe with this man. I didn't get that weird vibe from him. It was never disrespectful or anything of the sort. So I had this old man number in my back pocket or whatsoever. So Monday came, shit hit the fan, lights was out. I'm like, oh my God. So basically I used this man for his electricity, because other than that, I had food. I had just went shopping. I had water. I just went shopping. I had a rent-a-car, so I actually asked the old man to drop me off at the rent-a-car place so I could return this car from Hertz. Y'all know the Hertz story. If y'all haven't seen it, go watch like one of my earlier vlogs. I'll put it in the eye. They dogged me out, but I went and dropped the car off, and I asked him if he could drop, you know, pick me up and bring me back home or whatsoever. But I met this man for whatever reason on that day, and I was able to stay afloat with my electricity from using his basically. And after the power came back on, I never seen that man again. Thank you, God. Anywho, so I was stressing myself out when I decided to move out here from Cali, because I was trying to hit the ground running as soon as I touched down to find a home. I was like, I'm gonna do a short-term lease. I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna do stressing my Virgo. Hello, like, you doing too much. Just do the year lease. Okay, do the year lease and get to know different neighborhoods in Houston because it's so huge. So I was like, okay, bet, let's do that. The year came and went. It was already July, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do, or whatsoever. So it still wasn't clicking, not clicking, but I still it wasn't at the top of my priorities to start like looking into neighborhoods, because honestly I was still trying to figure out where I wanted to live in Houston because it's so big. So you guys met Samantha. Samantha is also looking for a property, but she's looking for a multi-family property. She's looking to buy a property, live on one side and rent out the other side or whatsoever. So she hit me up. I love a drive-by, an open house, all that, to see the neighborhood or whatsoever. So she's like, Robin, do you want to hop in the car and do this drive-by with this property? I was like, okay, bet, because I was on Zillow. I love Zillow, and I seen these townhome developments that we could go check out if you want to or whatsoever. So we go and do a drive-by. It's already lived in, so it's not like we could go inside. We could just do a drive-by on the outside and look. She's like, okay, yeah, I don't really like it. It was a little bit older than she expected it to be. So I was like, okay, well, if we got time, let's go and check out this development of these townhomes over here across the 288. So we go over there, banging, very nice. We slip in just under them closing, and we are able to view the property. Samantha's not really into it because she's looking for a multifamily. She knows what she wants, so she's like, Robin, just go ahead, do your thing. So I get in there. Mind you, I have a realtor, I don't have a lender, I don't have none of that. Literally, I'm just going in to see, but it is what it is. Maybe something may come out of this. So she shows me. So Miss Ashley, she goes and she's doing her job. She's basically showing me. So they basically show me the medium of the town homes or whatsoever. I love it, absolutely fall in love. It has just enough room for me in regards to what I need. However, it was $400,000. And I would have been house poor. She ran her numbers. We came back to the office, and I've never gone this far with anything, so I just let her punch the numbers in to see what it'll actually be, and I would be house poor, literally house poor. And I'm like, nah, you're not about to have me house poor, or whatsoever. It's just way, 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 way too expensive. So I let it go. That was Thursday. That was Thursday, July 22nd. So that was the 22nd. So I go home. Samantha drops me off. I go home. Guess where I go? I go to Zillow. I'm on Zillow, and I stopped putting neighborhoods in. I would just put zip codes in because Houston is so huge. Just like stop asking people where, what neighborhood do they stay in. I would just ask for their zip code. I had that zip code in when I found the townhouses, but that night I look and there's Bay, and I'm like, you come from? Only have been on the market for a day or whatsoever. So I'm looking, I'm like, oh, Bay is nice. Oh, Bay is real nice. So I'm like, okay. So Friday comes, it's in the back of my head, but not like, full throttle or whatsoever. So Saturday comes, and I was at Costco with old boy on that date with him. So I leave there, and I'm like, well, while I'm out, let's try and kill multiple birds with this one stone outing, and let's see if I can schedule like to go and look at the home. So I end up talking to a robot, but end up getting in contact with Brianna, who was turned out to be my realtor, because I didn't even have a realtor. That's how that's how where in the process I was for this home. I didn't have a realtor at all. So she's like, do you have a realtor? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, you have an approval letter, right? And I was like, yeah. Knowing a little bit about the process, I know about approval letters, and I just told her, I was like, yeah, I'm at the end of my approval letter at the 90 days, so I'm looking to have to redo it or whatsoever. Just trying to get in there. Honestly, I lied. Yes, I lied. I was just trying to get in to see the home. Our schedules didn't work out for that Saturday, so me and Samantha were planning on going to this Houston food truck park that they have here over in Houston. I was like, oh well, while we're there, or while we're going that way, let's go and do a drive-by by this house. I want to show you. So we go, we do a drive-by. Absolutely love the outside. I'm like, okay, I have to get in contact with her. At that point, it was like 2 days, or day 2 of it being on the market. So my original plan to see this home, or my original plan in purchasing my home, I wanted to do underneath the LLC, right? So that was one thing that I was hesitating on moving forward, because that's what I wanted to. That was my original plan, but mind you, I have nothing going with the LLC. Okay, so Sunday came, and I talked to my sister because I wanted to get, you know, her insights in regards to it and just tell her about it. And I was talking to my nephew about it, and I was showing them the townhomes. I was showing them, and my sister's like, girl, you better go ahead and snatch that shit up like real quick. I was like, I know, huh? Okay, cool. So she's like, well, I'll give you the number to our family friend, and you could talk to him in regards to you trying to do the LLC and things of that sort. I was like, okay, bet. So Monday came, I called family friend. Family friend is talking to me, and I'm telling him, and that is Monday the 26th, right? July the 26th. So I'm talking to him, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. And he's like, well, because it's so, you don't have your LLC formed at all right now. He's like, I would just buy the home with just your name, underneath your name, and then in the future, once it gets a little bit of an established and it's more established, then we can switch it over, refinance, blah blah blah. Okay, I was like, that's understandable, get it. He's like, okay, well, you know, send me all your information, you know, or whatsoever, and then I'll put you in contact with my lender. I was like, okay, bet, cool. So later on that day, I'm on Zillow again, just stalking the house. I'm like, oh baby, you look so good. I was like, oh, love. But mind you, I still haven't seen this heifer in person. I haven't touched it, you know, or whatsoever. So I'm on Zillow again, and I'm trying to see the availability in regards to time, but I click today, and it sends her a text message, Brianna, the like showing agent or whatever, and I'm like, ah, shit. So I end up texting her, and I'm like, girl, I'm sorry. I mean, I was just trying to see I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. I was like, what's your availability to show me the house today? She's like, oh, we can do it around 6. I was like, okay, bet. So 6 o'clock comes, I hop in the car, I'm on my way over there, I get a call from this unknown number, but it's calling, you know, it's from Arizona, whatever. I pick it up, it's a lender. He's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, we're talking. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, you're already starting the process. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually on my way to go and see a home right now. He's like, okay, cool. He's like, I don't see any problem. I looked over your paperwork, I don't see any problem getting your approval letter, blah 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 blah, asking me more stuff about work, and I'm like, whatever. So I drive over there. He's like, okay, well, you know, he's like, don't feel rushed or anything, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, no, for real. So I go and see the home, absolutely love it, absolutely fall in love with it. It's just the right amount of size for me. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's literally Goldilocks, just right. It's enough amount of space for me. It has the open concept how I want it. It has a backyard, a nice size backyard. It's not, once again, not too much for me to, if I need to go back there with a freaking lawnmower and do. It has a nice little front yard, and then it has an attached garage. Fall in love with it. She's like, well, if you want to, I would, you know, make an offer, you know, or whatsoever. And I'm like, yeah. In my head, I'm like, girl, I don't even have an approval letter, but I want this home. But I'm telling her, I'm like, you know what, I'll just go and, you know, think about it in the car, and then I'll let you know by like later on tonight. She's like, okay. So she leave. I'm sitting in the car in the driveway. I'm like, Robert, I need it, I want it, He's like, okay. He's like, this is the number, this is how much you'll be paying, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool, that's doable, let's do it. He's like, okay, I'll get the approval letter over to you. I was like, bet. So I go home, I'm in the car, and I call her back up, and I'm like, yes, I want to make an offer. She's like, okay, bet. She's like, I'll start, you know, doing up the paperwork. I'm like, okay, cool. So then I'm in the car driving back, and she's like, oh yeah, can you also send me a copy of your approval letter? I was like, huh? Mind you, I didn't have that yet, so I was like, ah, shit. I was like, Robert, just an FYI, she's asking for my approval letter. He's like, okay, I'll get it to you, whatever. So we get it to him, make the offer. We made the offer that Monday, and they accepted my offer. They accepted my offer on the 28th of July. That was it. They accepted my offer. I had a 5-day option period, in regards to getting the inspection back and seeing if I wanted to move forward. Inspection came back very minimal stuff, just cosmetic things, nothing that needed to be like crazy like fixed or, you know, whatsoever. It was just cosmetic stuff, and they were completely okay with fixing it. So I was like, cool. So pay for the inspection. Literally, this is all I'm going on the graces of everybody I'm coming in contact with, because Brianna just by default became my realtor, and she handled it, you know, to the best of her abilities, with not even, you know, knowing me and me not choosing her. It worked, you know, it worked out. So inspection came back perfectly fine. The inspector, she was a gem. I have her, I'll put their information down at the bottom. Ask for her. I think her name was Kate. Kate was a gem, above and beyond of the call of duty. Okay, she did what she needed to be done, followed up multiple times, like, woo, chef's kiss on Kate. And so then once the inspection came back and everything was good, it was just moving on, you know, from there in regards to the appraisal. Appraisal went fine. Appraisal came back at listing at the property, property value. So that was fine. There wasn't any hiccups in regards to that. Paperwork being signed, perfectly fine. And my mortgage broker came together like butt cheeks and just made it happen for me in regards to pulling, you know, this deal off for me. There was at one point where I was like, am I moving too fast? And that doubt came, and it left very quickly, because it's like, I let go and let God. I was like, I'm not gonna second guess this decision for me, because this is what I came out here to do. I came out here to purchase a home, and I'm like, this is not my forever home. This is just my stepping stone into being a homeowner. And I'm like, I'm ready. Okay, I'm like, I can't be sitting here, you know, not completing this, you know, goal that I wanted to achieve. So I just let go and let God. I let him literally take the wheel in regards to feeling any doubt. I only felt doubt in the beginning, because I'm like, am I moving too fast? But it wasn't that I was moving too fast. It was literally just moving so smoothly. There weren't any hiccups. So literally it was just like, bam, this happened, bam, this happened, bam, 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 bam. And I was like, you know, it was a little shell shocking, you know, in regards to just the process. It was just going so fast and smooth. It was like, damn. Okay, so it went so smoothly. There was a little hiccup at the end, like I said, you guys, like I told you guys, but other than that, butter baby. Can't even fathom that I am a home owner. I just want to thank my realtor Brianna. I want to thank my lender Robert, and then my mortgage broker. I want to thank Damien for coming together and putting this deal together, and everything going so smoothly. And literally we jinxed ourselves. We were in the car driving back to the title company, like, oh my God, I can't believe it that everything went so smoothly for you. And I was like, yeah, it did. And yeah, I'll have to break my lease at my current apartment, but I feel like because I don't have any family out here, and I really don't have anybody to live with, whatever I would do, it would always be a fee involved, whatever I would be doing, because some processes, they go over 2 months, 3 months, you know, 3 months or whatsoever. So you can never tell. So yes, there's a fee that I would have to pay to break my lease here. Yes, I'm gonna have to eat that cost. It is what it is. But this is the path that I'm on now, and I'm okay with that, because I'm going to be in my own space. I'm going to be one step closer to completing another goal in my life, you know, in regards to becoming a full-fledged adult. So yes, I bought myself a house for my birthday. So I was like, yeah, for my 35th birthday, I'm gonna buy myself a house. And I did that exactly. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. If you have any questions in regards to any information that I spoke about in this video, leave it down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.